All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Blue Ribbon Channel. And with me here down below me is Alex. Alex, the historian. Say hi, Alex.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be here.
So we're going to cover, and we're gonna play this very. What's the word I want to use? We're gonna take this very casual because first off, this topic of conversation, which by the way, your video. This is the reason why I decided to create, to do this video was your video blew up. Were,
It
were,
really did.
were you expecting it to blow up?
You know, like any video, I hope that it gets at least 50,000 views, and then I'm good. I'm like, okay, I'm happy. Enough people have seen it. I'm satisfied.
Right.
This video, only 8 days later, has reached 615,000 views. And I've never had a video, first of all, that reached 615,000 views, and I've never had a video that did it in 8 days. So I mean,
Right.
I've had videos that reached the 450K mark in a year. But yeah, this was pretty crazy. So
Yeah. I mean, I when I saw the amount of views that it had in such a short period of time, I was like, wow. So I figured that it was worth the ability for us to get together, and I'm glad you were able to come on board with me today to discuss
yeah.
this. This is going to be very casual. This topic really gets people's emotions stirred up.
Oh yeah, they love the pool, and
Yeah,
it makes them angry to see it in the condition it's in. It makes me angry.
yeah. And by the way, everybody, let me give you a kind of a warning. I'm going to be moving things around the screen. This is going to be like we're going to try and squeeze things in. And I just moved Alex up because the the little icon down below at the bottom of the screen was blocking your view. So I thought I'd move you up a little bit. I didn't want to block your beautiful face. So, but um, but yeah, we're gonna try and cover some topics here. Um, we'll go into a little bit of the history of the room, and uh, we're going to discuss the real reasons why the pool is suffering from the visual scars that it currently has, and it's a lot more cosmetic than it is structural. But we're going to go into that. Um, First, let's go ahead. You've got the picture here. This is a picture taken prior to the maiden voyage. All of the tiles perfectly, in line, pristine. No water in the pool yet. Not even the golden rose motif on the staircase yet. And I find it. I don't know if you can see it, Alex. Can you see it now? Can you see the stream?
I see. Yeah, I see the stream on YouTube.
Do you see something odd that shouldn't be there?
Something odd that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, it's not there today. I don't know why it's there in that picture, but
The only thing that I see that's there that is not there right now is the floors, the decking.
yeah, okay.
But
So the decking has changed a little bit, but no, it's the light.
the light.
Yes, where there's a clock, there's a light on the staircase.
Oh, oh, that's right.
Yeah, I don't know why there's a light there, but there's a light there. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They now later there is a square clock that goes into that position, and I think there might have been a light to illuminate the clock face, but not a light of that degree.
Oh, by the way, people are saying that I'm a bit quiet.
Oh, okay, we can raise you up. That's not a problem. Okay, go ahead and
Speaking of light, you know what else I notice is the little half circle shaped light lamps are not lit in this photo.
Yeah, I think that when this picture was taken, they had not finished. Either they had not finished all of the electrical work, or for some unknown reason, they came in with the cameras and took pictures without the lights all being on. You would think they would want the lights all on, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's go to the next picture really quick. Well, speaking of lights, they are installing one of the half circle lights on one of the columns, and they actually have a glass metallic reflection inside, so they're designed to shine, extra, bright, going to the top and going to the bottom.
Is it like a bowl-shaped disc on the inside that reflects it, or
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And the little sconces on the side are not installed yet on this picture.
Yeah, and you can also see that they didn't fully grout the tile along that particular latitude.
Yeah, it's either it's still needing one final grouting,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe it just needs cleaning. I'm not, you would think it wouldn't get that dirty, but I'd be curious to see what the tag says on the wiring.
You know what's weird is it doesn't look like they're standing on scaffolding, but
Oh, they are.
they are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely they are.
Huh.
You can see right at the very bottom. That's probably like a 2x8 board. Probably several 2x8 boards or 2x10s. That they're straddled across. Between one side and the other of the scaffold that they're on.
Oh, I see. I was gonna say it kind of looks like a workshop, which was totally crazy. But then I saw behind that one guy's butt is the archway of the ceiling. So
Right. Okay, let's go to the next one here that I've got. A little bit more tile work being done here. This is on the two-tiered staircase. So to give everybody a basic understanding of the room itself, the room itself is not as big as you would think. I mean, it's a pretty good size. It's 60 feet long by 42 feet wide, and the pool takes up quite a bit of the lower area deck space, which is 35 feet by 22 feet. Everybody thinks that the pool is exceptionally deep. And I'm going to tell you right now, the pool. Wow! It's okay. It is pouring outside, by the way, right now. It's been waiting all day for this thunderstorm to move in, and now it's moved in. Okay, hopefully it won't interrupt us. Everybody thinks that the pool was never used because the pool was too deep for OSHA standards or for safety standards. That's not actually true. I mean, it might be true to some degree, but when you look at the pool today, you're like, oh my God, that thing is exceptionally deep because it looks very deep. The thing that you have to remember is that the pool, and I'm gonna show you a picture here next. Let's take a look here. Yeah, we can go with this one. So here's a picture of the pool. I think this looks like 1930s. So you can see the people that are standing on the deck, that sea deck that they're standing on, around the freshwater fountain, and the people in the pool are at least 3 feet below the deck level. So, we're used to looking at a swimming pool where the pool, the water level height is within maybe 6 inches to no more than a foot away from the deck, surrounding the pool. This is 3 feet down. So, in actuality, it's 7.5 feet to 8.5 feet, and that's the varying degree of depth from the pool tank bottom to sea deck. But actually, the water level height is only six. Let's see, it's 6.5, 6.5 to 4.5, I believe.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so 6.5 on the deep end, 4.5 on the shallow end. That's deeper than we're used to, because we're used to 3.5 and like 5.5 or 6 feet maximum. If you stay at a hotel, but it's not exceptionally deep. And if you look there, you see the little pockets in the sides. There's a little white line that kind of comes down in the middle of the page, and there's like a little pocket in the side of the pool.
Yeah.
Those are cuspidors.
Cuspidors?
Cuspidors.
What is a cuspidor?
They're spittoons.
You're joking.
It's a saltwater pool. Of course, you're going to get salt water in your mouth. You don't do the rash thing of spitting the water back out into the pool. You spit it into the cuspidor. And that's what those things are for. It's to spit the salt water that accidentally gets into your mouth into there, instead of spitting it back into the pool.
Well, that is thoroughly shocking. I thought those were handholds, because they're...
you do have handholds. There are handholds in there, but along with the handholds are the cuspidors.
I mean, yeah. I thought they were handholds because before there was that rail, there was no rail there before. So I thought, oh, those were handholds for...
Yeah, if we go back, let me go back to the original picture that we had. So you can see the cuspidors. They're deeper. They're slightly bigger. Let's see if I can make that bigger. Yeah, I can make that bigger. There we go. So you can see that the cuspidors are slightly bigger, but the handholds are also part of the ceramic work. They are ceramic as well.
Oh, they were ceramic as well.
Yeah. Now these handholds were not replaced, but they were. Wow, it is really pouring. I hardly ever hear rain hit my roof, but I can't even see out my window. It is raining so hard outside right now that I cannot see out my window.
Jeez.
It's like there's a hurricane going on outside. Anyways, I'm sorry.
I hope you built your ark.
So anyways, the handholds were supplemented by an actual grab handle that was installed onto the pool, and that's what you see today is the grab handles that were installed later.
Okay, but yeah, geez, spittoons for spitting water. It makes sense.
You're stuck on that.
Yeah, wow.
All right, let me bring that back down. Oh, wait a minute. Oh. Yeah. Oh, no. That's what I want to do. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Okay. Okay, let's go on to the next one. I don't know if you can actually hear it. I mean, it's loud. It is very loud.
No, I can't hear anything.
Okay. Well, it's a good microphone, but, poor for what I wanted to do. We'll take a look. So one of the... Whoa! Okay, that's a little bit too big. We'll bring that back down. There's a good shot, again, of the cuspidors and the ceramic handholds. One of the features that the original pool in 1936 had that was removed, not immediately, but once the ship started experiencing more weather, more sea-like conditions, was the removal of the two diving boards that you can see here in this shot. They didn't last for very long, and the reason why was because the ship, we know she had the nickname of Rolling Mary, so she did have a tendency to roll. So as the ship would roll, as you had more swell, heavier swells in her crossing, the water would actually shift from one side of the pool to the other. I don't know. You've never been on a ship, right? But you're going to be when you go on the Queen Mary 2.
Yeah, I've never been on a ship, but I do know that the water does shift around as the ship rolls.
Oh, it's absolutely hilarious especially on a ship with older passengers, and you're going to probably experience the little older passengers on Queen Mary 2. Nobody swims in a pool on a ship. Very, very rarely. They especially the old people, they all hold on to the sides. They don't swim in the middle. They don't, they might a little bit, but for the most part, they just hold on to the side. And as the ship rolls from port to starboard, the water shifts from port to starboard in the tank. And it's funny because if they're not holding on, the people that are in the water shift with the water, and then they shift back to port, and then they shift back to starboard. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Same with dancing. If you watch people dancing when you go on a ship, because everybody dances from port to starboard as the ship rolls. Everybody will move to port, and everybody will move to starboard, and everybody will move to port, and then they'll move to starboard. It's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Anyways. So with the water shifting from port to starboard, you can imagine now you've got deep water on the port side of the pool, but it's now become shallow on the starboard side of the pool. And if you are taking a dive, head first, that may not exactly be the wisest thing to do if you happen to be on the side that's shallow. Mm-hmm. So they decided to go ahead and take care of that by removing the diving boards altogether.
Not to mention, if the ship was pitching,
you're right. You're right.
The pool was longer than it was wide, and the amount of water moving forward, if the ship was pitching, would just rush over the top if they didn't have some way to kind of at least slow it down. So I believe that's what they had those shelves for on the forward and aft ends of the pool. They have shelves.
Yeah. Once a ship starts to pitch and or roll, in any significant movement, they will actually on cruise ships today will actually drain the pool, because it becomes too dangerous to be inside. But up to the point where they actually start to do that, if you're anywhere near the pool, it's like, a cascading spray of water that comes out of the pool as it hits one side and then it hits the other. So yeah, you don't want to be anywhere near a pool when the ship is rolling or pitching. But yeah, that's the reason. If you look here in the 36 shot, there was no lip. Can you see that? That it's more flat.
I don't know if you've changed the photo or something, because I'm on a 12-second delay.
Okay, so I booted it up a little bit, and so just wait for it to show up. But you can see that there's the black deck portion is not like it is today, where there's like a lip. There's no lip. It's flat.
Oh, but that's not what I was talking about, though.
Oh, well.
Down in the tank of the pool, on the forward end and on the aft end, there's a shelf, maybe about 2 feet jutting out, and it's.
Yeah, I do know
it's
what
down. It's down. Like
I do know what you're talking about, and also in modern day pools today they have a like a little catch basin all the way around the edge of the pool at the very top to try and absorb a lot of that water that shifts from side to side or from forward to back.
mhm.
But yeah, Queen Mary's pool didn't have that. But
Yeah.
there's even no lip here. That's the one thing that is a major difference between 1936 and today.
Yeah, and I believe that the sea deck level of the pool, all the walkways or whatever you call them, the decks, were probably uh, tilted just a little bit towards the pool to allow for easier redraining of the water back into the pool for sloshing.
Are you talking about like water on that got onto the deck on sea deck?
Uh, yeah, like if the water was sloshing around, let's say the ship was pitching or rolling, and the water went whoosh and
Yeah,
then rushed onto the deck. I'm sure the deck was also tilted slightly towards the pool, so that way the water would drain back into the pool.
that's a good question because normally the decks are cambered ever so slightly from port to starboard. There's a little bit of an arch in the center because
Yeah,
everything's designed to go to the edge of the deck. Like particularly the outer decks, because they go into the scupper and then they drain out if you have water that collects from rain or from wave conditions. But that's a good question. I'm not sure if this particular area was modified to where it did catch water back into the pool. That's a good question. I don't know.
because I mean, if it was a normal camber, then the water would find its way out of the room and into the surrounding
Right.
spaces.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it would. All right, let's move on here. Oh, I was going to go to this one here. Oops. Of course, it doesn't want to. This is obviously a publicity shot. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but there was actually a water spout that fed water down the slide. That's not on. It looks like in this picture, and yeah, you don't want to be on that slide when it's dry, especially in like a bathing suit. It would catch your skin. I've sat on the slide. I've never slid off the slide, but I've sat on the slide because I wasn't too worried about it. I wasn't worried about sliding off of it because it's very it's yucky. It's very yucky today.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at this woman, and her thighs are exposed, and she's going to try and slide down that slide.
Head first.
Head first.
Which is just odd.
Without any water going out. I mean, it doesn't look like there's any water coming off the slide.
It doesn't.
No.
Anyway. But I did answer my question because I had a feeling that that water went down the slide, but
yeah.
I didn't know because I never had a clear photo of the top of the slide.
Yeah. Okay. And we'll just cover a little bit here on the wartime use of the pool. So I'm pretty sure that most people know that the swimming pool itself was turned into one big, massive bunk room. I mean, we're talking about bunks that were, I think they went 7 tiers, 7 bunks. You did have little walkways, little catwalks, but I mean, can you imagine 7 tiered bunks, 7 or 8 tiered bunks?
Mm-hmm.
That's just unbelievable. But the swimming pool wasn't just used for bunk use. The balcony was actually the ceramic railing of the balcony was partially removed at the aft end near the doorway that leads into the R deck foyer, and the balcony itself was actually decked off so that it could be used for additional space. And what they did was they put the traditional military issued benches, picnic benches, with the tables and chairs out for overflow dining room space. Now, I don't have a picture of that to show, but if we look at, and by the way, if you can see here, there's the slide, by the way, in the bottom right hand corner.
Yeah, they just decked around it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I heard that the pool tank itself was also had some bunks down in there. That there was like a
yeah, they
access
went all the way to the bottom. I was looking
Yeah.
for the picture that I know I have somewhere. And by the way, this was really off the fly, so I was trying to find a lot of the pictures. Oh my gosh, yeah. There is a picture out there that shows bunks inside the pool. But yeah, they went all the way down to the bottom of the tank. Let's see here.
I was speaking to somebody who said that their father was his bunk was stationed in the pool tank.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I out of all the places to be placed on board, I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to be there.
Nope.
So if we go to, let's see here. We're going to shoot all the way forward to the Queen Mary's retirement. And although the pool itself really didn't see much, there wasn't really much modification. It was the areas around it that saw the modification, which was basically the gutting of the Turkish baths, that were located on our deck. Those were all removed. And of course, there's a really good picture of during the conversion period where you can kind of see where the Turkish baths were, and the opening of our deck and the cutting out of one of the bulkheads into the balcony area of the pool. And then you can see the pool, within. But they didn't touch the pool. The pool just sort of kind of sat there. But for some unknown reason, probably because and this was the problem, that they ran out of money. They had all of these plans to do all kinds of different things up to the opening of the ship, in 71, and which should have actually been more like 70, but they didn't make that deadline. But they ran out of money. They basically got cut off. And so a lot of projects that had been started, at least the gutting phase, it didn't continue. It was dropped. And I think that's what the situation was with the pool. They had gutted the Turkish bath areas, and
Do you want the photo of the bulkhead open? The Turkish bath?
you got it?
Yeah.
Oh, throw it my way. We'll show it. We'll throw it up here.
Okay.
I know I've got it. Where I've got it, I don't know where it's at.
Just let's see.
Hang tight, everybody. I'll show you this picture really quick of the conversion.
Okay, I'm in the file. I just need to. There we go. Send that over to you on Discord message.
All right. And there it is. Yep, that's the picture, all right. Okay. Oh, what was the name of that picture?
Fred.
Fred. 2.8. Okay. I'll look for 2.8. Well, it's got to be like right here. There it is. Nope, that's not it. Never mind. If you only saw my downloads folder right now, my downloads folder is like 1,000,000 files.
But shouldn't whatever you just recently downloaded be at the top?
You would think so. Oh, there it is. I found it. Whoa! Huge. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I had AI enhance the photo, so it was much
Whoa,
easier to see.
you enhanced that photo, all right. Here we go. Hold on.
Well, my videos are in 4K, so they have to be able to be seen on a massive screen television.
Ah,
so.
yeah. Okay, there we go. So we're looking. It looks like we're looking at. Looks like we're looking at our deck, looking aft. No, looking forward.
Forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on the left
on the port side. We're looking port side looking forward. To the left is the gutted remains of the Turkish baths. And I believe there should be a year in that I don't know if I can see it.
Which the Turkish baths, I only recently found out that the access to that was from the R deck foyer.
Yeah.
And the doors are still there, but nothing behind it.
Right. Well, and also the other way that you had access to it was from the lift. It's the one it's the inner lift on the port side that has a set of double doors, and that was those were the doors that also led into the Turkish baths. Yeah.
Does it still have the double doors today?
Oh yeah, the double doors are there. In fact, when you get a tour and you go through that little S curved hallway from the foyer into the pool, you pass by the set of stainless steel doors that would have opened up into the Turkish baths.
I never knew this. Mm-hmm. Jeez.
So yeah,
they really should like reinstall the Turkish baths. I don't understand why they would remove them and then build a sauna, or not a sauna, a spa somewhere else on the ship. It's like you had a room that was best suited for becoming a spa. It's like, why gut that and then move the spa to another part of the ship? Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, there was never a spa available on board until the 90s, I believe. I think we had the Queen Mary spa brought on board into the hotel in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s. And I kept thinking, I'm like, what would have been more perfect than to use the Turkish bath areas as the Queen Mary spa? Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's we'll discuss that, because that actually goes into our topic of what to do with the pool now situation. And the Turkish baths is a waste of space. It's an absolute waste of space, and that would be something that would be covered in there. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, so you can see they did some major modifications on that port side. They were actually trying to make it into a corridor. It was going to be one big giant corridor leading from the R deck foyer to the third class dining room. And the third class dining room was actually going to be a public room. And that was how you got from, if you boarded the ship, you could either board the ship, R deck midship, right there on the gangway that we're used to, or you could board it where, there's the staircase that goes up to the gangway. But either way, that would get you to the third class dining room, which was going to be a public space available on board. which never ended up really happening. Okay. Well, thank you for sending that. I'm glad we were able to show that.
You're welcome, sir.
It's a sad but you know honest look at some of the work that was done during the conversion. And as you can see, all of the original light fixtures were taken down. A key point to make: I don't know what ever happened, and I know that tour guides and people, engineers, people that have worked on board will tell you that something went wrong with how they wired the pool. The swimming pool area has always had some kind of an issue with I don't even know what it is. It's like maybe you could chalk this up to ghosts. In fact, I won't go into that now, but I had kind of a ghost type experience in the pool, and it had to do with lighting. But but no, but the pool area has always had some kind of issue with lighting, where if you turn on certain breakers, other breakers will pop. And by the way, the breaker panel for the pool is on C deck outside of the pool, on the starboard side. And so whenever there was an issue with lighting in the pool, that's where we'd have to go to look for the culprit breaker that might be out. But then I don't know how they did it, but well, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. I keep doing that. We'll talk about the Ghosts and Legends thing here in a minute. I see you sent me another picture. Oh, well, you sent me another picture. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to save that one, and I'll show that one here in a minute.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, let me go to 71. So, this is a good one to show. Oh, gosh. From your really, really big picture to this picture, which is a little bit blown up. But so this was taken right, probably within weeks, maybe even days after the Queen Mary had arrived in Long Beach. The pool had already been drained. You can see that the rose and gold, the swan motif, was still there at the time. We know that it was destroyed in some way, shape, or form during the conversion, which is why it's no longer there today. But you can see that the pool was basically untouched, and even though that construction area, that the conversion area, the balcony area was disturbed a little bit, the overall pool area wasn't touched. However, there were modifications that were made unseen that we'll talk about in a minute. Let's see. One more picture here.
Scott Fairs asks, what's below the pool room?
The
Shiloh answered, the turbo generator room.
And Shiloh would be correct. Shiloh HPC is correct. The forward turbo generator room is what is directly below the swimming pool, or below the cofferdam of the swimming pool. Now, let me show you this picture. So, it wasn't until about 1975, 76, somewhere in that general area, when they came up with the idea of, well, first, the pool wasn't even available for tours. If you look at tour maps, early 70s, mid 70s tour maps, the pool wasn't available. They didn't take people there. And I think maybe through the popular demand of people saying, "Oh, there's got to be a swimming pool. We want to see the swimming pool," and that's basically what it is today. People want to see the swimming pool. They came up with the idea of, well, let's fill the tank. So they did make a modification. The original pool, which by the way is 29,000 gallons, was originally salt water, and it was fed from the condensers from the turbo generator room that were directly below. So as the salt water or the seawater was brought in to cool the remaining steam from the turbo generators to turn it back into water, that heated the seawater, which was then fed into the pool. So now you had a heated swimming pool. And it was not. You think of modern filtration today, where you've got the water constantly flowing through. They didn't have to worry about that. They could drain this pool and fill this pool in 30 minutes. Didn't take much time at all. They would drain it at the end of the day, fill it in the morning, drain it again in the afternoon. Later on, they let third-class passengers come in and swim. And then when their time was done, they drained the pool again, filled it back up, left it in for the evening, and then drained it at the end of the day. No problem. Didn't have to worry about filtration. But when they wanted to fill the pool in the 70s, they had to come up with some form of filtration. So they did. There's a few little spouts that have been mounted to the side of the tank, and there was a really hodgepodge filtration system that's on EDEC currently. It's right by the Cofer Dam, and it's all still there. If you probably turned it on, it would probably work, but it's all dry. It's probably seized, but it still looks like it would work. But I remember as a kid going into the pool, and let me tell you, the acoustics standing in there with the water in the pool, it's unlike anything like it is today. When you're in the pool now, to me it's dead. It just feels dead. When there was water in that pool, it felt alive because because of the acoustics, I think. Not only the acoustics, but the water, the reflection of the light onto the ceiling. The light sconces and the half circle dome lights that are on the columns and everything, all that reflected into the pool, and then it would reflect straight back up to the ceiling. And so you would see that, that glimmering, the glimmering, shimmering lights, reflecting onto the ceiling. And it was fantastic. And then I remember coming to the ship in 1982, 1983, and it was gone. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe they're cleaning the pool. Next time I'll be back. I think I showed up again in 1984 because it was usually like a yearly trip that we'd make to the ship. And no water. And I think we came again in 85. No water. And that was it. Done. We'll go into the reasons why that took place. Oops, that's not where I want to go.
King of Battleships wants to know, what temperature was the pool kept at?
I believe it was kept in the low 70s. It's either really high 60s or low 70s, but I don't think it was high 60s because that really starts to get cold. I think that it was. I think it was low to mid 70s.
Yeah,
I remember hearing somebody tell me what the temperatures were. Oh, wait a minute. Shiloh, you've got that book. Does it give anything on temperature in that book? Shiloh, HBC in the channel here, he has a log from the forward turbo generator room, which they had to keep. That was part of their duty, was to fill and drain the swimming pool. and the run of the pumps and everything for the swimming pool itself. So temperature may have also been something that they had to keep track of. He may respond here in a minute. Let's see here. Now, one thing that started to happen, they started to realize that the pool was losing water. And they weren't really sure what the situation was, but they figured that it was seeping through the grout and the mortar of the pool and finding its way out. There was some corrosion probably spotted at that time. So they thought the best thing to do would be to seal the existing tile and the grout with a waterproof sealant. So that's what they did. And we'll show this one here. So here's a probably 1981, 1982 shot of the pool. And you can see that the pool is the color that it is today. It's that light blue. And that's basically it's a sealant that's been painted over the tile, the original tile, and the grout. And that would have been okay, I guess. But there was a big problem. That pool had been filled with salt water for so many years that the grout and the mortar absorbed all that salt. And so what began to happen, let's see if I've got a good picture of it. I was looking for a...
By the way, Shiloh, he doesn't have the book with him, so he can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you anyway, Shiloh. Where was I going? Oh, the salt. I was looking for a picture of the salt that would show. Let's see, 2000s. Not sure if you can see it in this one. No, you can't. If anybody's been on board and you look at the swimming pool today, when you look at the blue, I was just telling Alex about it. It looks like a flock of seagulls flew over, right? A flock of seagulls flew over the swimming pool and just did their thing. And there's all these little white specks all over the blue. And
yeah, it literally looks like bird poop.
It looks like bird poop. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's not bird poop. It's salt crystals. And that's what started to happen, was that salt crystals just literally started growing out, breaking through that sealant and expanding. I mean, they are growing, and they're continuing to grow. It's a mess still today. And that was basically the end of the pool, as far as for like water was concerned.
I was telling Steve that the salt crystal issue is the same thing that plagued the ceiling of Notre Dame, because after the fire, when they sprayed water over the top of the ceiling, there was plaster lining the entire top, and the plaster was full of salt. And so when the water seeped through the plaster, it moved the salt in between the grout of the stones. And then when all the water dried, the salt crystals formed and started splitting the stonework. And so that's one of the issues they've been facing the last couple of years, is trying to leach the salt out of the grout and the stone. But ironically, the other situation where that's happening is the Queen Mary's pool.
Yeah, isn't that funny? I think I was reading something somewhere along the line where something had been, so it wasn't directly connect. It wasn't like a tank. It wasn't like submerged in seawater, but it was close enough to the shore that it would get sea spray. And of course, you get salt with the sea spray, and it had absorbed so much salt that it was starting to bleed salt crystals, just because it would get the sea spray from it. Okay, let's see here. So this is actually a pretty good picture to show. Um, you can see in this picture that there's been a lot of tiles replaced.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the issue that they were starting to have, was these they're terracotta tiles, but they mimic what they call Egyptian sandstone. So they're not exactly one color. They really do look like a sandstone finish on the one side, but they're regular terracotta pottery tiles on the backside. But they literally started popping off. I mean, they would just pop off. You'd come into the pool and you'd find a broken tile on the deck. And you're like, oh crap, So they found some replacement tile that didn't look anything close to, and this picture really shows that it wasn't anything close to the original tile. But it was a sign of what was starting to happen, which was there was a deformation of not only the deck, but there was a deformation of the pool tank. There was a deformation of the columns that are coming upward, and that was what was popping these tiles off. And then the other problem that they had, let's see if I can get a picture to show you here.
Did you want to tell people what you and I were talking about before the stream, which was the reason for the blue tiles?
Yeah. So yeah. You know what? Let me bring that up in just a second. If everybody notices, down at the bottom of the columns is like an aqua colored mosaic tile, and it's been there since the '60s. That's from Cunard. But Alex and I were discussing about this before we went on the air. I believe that the pool had already been suffering a little bit of deformation before the ship was retired, and that was the reason why they had to replace the tile work at the base of the columns, because, and we're going to go into this here in a minute, the tile company went out of business in 1964. That was Carter and Company. They were the suppliers of the tiles. So I'm sure that they probably weren't looking at getting replacement tiles. So they thought they'd add the aqua colored mosaics. I think that was their quick fix for the damaged tiles that were there. But I think it's a sign that there was a problem with deformation of the tank already.
And there was something else I noticed at the beginning of our stream when you were showing the photograph of the pool in World War II. You could see that the little walls that surround the pool that used to have the terracotta tile,
mm-hmm.
those tiles in that photo were broken and cracked and chipped. And then later on, you see that they replaced them with a really dark green mosaic tile that doesn't quite match the columns.
Yeah, in fact, the area around the balcony where you have that bright green tile work, that actually marks a lot of the area where that added deck was put into place. So they had to knock all those out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I always wondered why there was that green band there. That totally makes sense.
Right. And down below, right below the entry door on R deck, on C deck, is a mirror today. That used to be a lit fountain. A lit decorative fountain. The plumbing work is actually still partially there for the fountain, but the fountain itself, I don't know if it was removed before the war or during the war, but it didn't make it through the war, that's for sure. But anyways, that's kind of getting off topic a little bit. Let's see here. So I guess we should discuss the actual issue with the pool. I guess.
The deformation.
Yeah, the deformation. So 1990, a company called Rados was hired to give a thorough inspection of the ship, bow to stern. And I don't actually have a copy of the 1990 report, but I have their 1992 follow up. And this was all done for, it was done for the city and it was done for Disney. Disney was looking at, Disney wanted to have a report of the condition of the ship to make their minds up on whether or not they were going to continue into a long-term lease. They were only in a 5-year lease, and they were already halfway through their 5-year lease in 1990. So the report was basically to help Disney make that decision. I think they had already made their decision beforehand, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
So let me pull up the Rados report here. Oh, good. Very good. Now I need to just put it on here. No. Cancel. That's the one I want. That's the one I want. Except I want to make it bigger. Why is it? There we go. Yeah, that's better. So I'm not going to go through the entire report, but this was a follow-up report to the 1990 report. But you'll see here it says the pool deck located between C and D decks between frames 212 and 222 at the center line of the structure. The top of the pool and exposed structures on or above are covered with decorative tiles about 1 inch thick. Severe cracking and deformation of the tiles and concrete underlayment occur when the pool is filled with water. So that was initially occurring because of the weight of the water in the pool.
My image is removed from the screen.
Your what?
My video feed is removed from your screen.
Well, how did that happen?
Everybody thinks I disappeared.
Yeah, where'd you go? Yeah, where did you go? Oh, good grief. Hold on a second. Let's see here. That would be the reason why. We just need to there we go. You're there. Hello.
Hello.
All right. Let me get back to my report here. Oh, that's funny. You disappear. Why is it that you disappear? We'll just move you out of the way. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, that's better. Oh, wow. Okay. Get rid of that. Much better. Okay. So going back to this, it says the investigation of the pool complex revealed that due to a number of years of continuously using salt water in the pool combined with the heat generated from operation of the generators below and the moisture trapped in the enclosed structure beneath the pool, the steel lining and structural members of the coffer dam of the pool have severely deteriorated. And this picture here below shows basically what the underneath of the pool in the coffer dam looks like. Basically not the same today. It's a nasty area to be in.
Out of personal curiosity,
yes,
are those wood beams still there?
wood. I don't think there's any wood down there. It's all steel, as far as I remember. If there's anything wood down there, it was temporary fixes.
I'm sure it's temporary wood. If you look at it really closely, you can see the grain.
Oh, you know what? I think you're right. Yeah, I think these were temporary fixes. I don't remember them being there.
Yeah, see, because I had a feeling that those photos were taken in 1990, and I had a feeling that those things were already rotten when the photo was taken.
Yeah.
So I imagine that they probably rotted out afterwards as well. So
right. Yeah, and so I want to let's see. I'm kind of jumping back and forth here a little bit, and I don't want to do that. This is what initially caused the problem with the pool. The deformation of the tank. It has nothing to do. Now, if we scroll down here a little bit more, it mentions this removed. Let's see. Wait a minute. Additionally, several supporting structures on the port side of the pool structure were removed during the conversion to accommodate the application of cement on the floor of D deck. Now, when they would talk about removal of supporting structures, basically it was the removal of a bulkhead. A watertight bulkhead came up against the side of the tank of the pool and became one with the pool tank. During the conversion work, they had actually removed a portion of the bulkhead and had cut it flush. So it wasn't like they left a portion of it. They actually cut it flush with an oxyacetylene torch. And in the process of doing that, they actually went and removed a portion of the upper deck girder to C deck. There's a portion of the C deck girder that's missing, and part of the girder that comes alongside the tank. They removed a portion of that. So I don't think that necessarily had a great amount of responsibility for the deformation. It could have, especially if you had left water in there a lot longer, because there was only water in the pool maybe 6-7 years total. If the water had continued to be kept into the pool for maybe another 10 years or so, you would probably see a lot more distortion. But I think the main issue with distortion was from the cofferdam. But nowhere in this report, nowhere in the 1990 report, nowhere in the 1992 follow-up mentions anything about the boiler room bulkhead removal. Everything that is taking place in the pool is all in relation to the pool tank and the cofferdam. The cofferdam is suffering from corrosion, pure and simple. There is no compromise of the cofferdam from the removal of bulkheads in the boiler room, in boiler room 3 and in boiler room 2. And let me see if I can pull up a picture here really quick. We'll get rid of that. Go back to my image. Come on now. Oh, no. Go away. There we go. Okay. Image. Proud.
Evan Scott, to answer your question, the pool tank and the cofferdam would have to be rebuilt for there ever to be water in there again.
Yes, and we're gonna touch basis on that here. We'll probably wrap up with work that would need to be done, and you're hitting the nail right on the head. But the question is going to be, what is going to be best needed for the ship? But we'll talk about that here in a little bit. It's so easy to get carried away.
It really is. I mean, it's like everything on the ship intertwines with another
It
subject, and so
does.
you end up talking about one subject, and you end off,
That's why our phone conversations go 2 or 3 hours, because we go from one topic into another topic into another topic. I know I had it here. Oh, yeah. Oh no. Oh dear. Okay, I need to go into a different source then.
a tomato source.
Oh, rain cleared up.
I didn't hear my joke.
A tomato source? Tomato source? I got it. I got it. I needed to catch up. Okay. Now it's going to be a matter of finding the right picture to really show. Oh, of course, I found another pool picture I could have shown, but I want the right image to show here for the bulkheads in the boiler room. Well, let's see here.
Yeah, I didn't have a photo of, or at least a clear photo of the specific bulkhead that people often talk about associated with the pool room. So I had to take a screenshot of a video I took. And even
Oh,
then, it was taken from quite a distance, and it's hard to tell the steel frames in that photo. So I had to, in my own video, I had to highlight the beams or the girders, whatever you want to call them.
yeah. Yeah, my problem is that what I've ended up doing is moving pictures from folder to folder without, when I shouldn't really be doing that. And so then when I come back to look for a picture, it's not there.
Honestly, with all the weirdness surrounding the Queen Mary, I have a feeling that part of it is when people try to keep collections of photos of the ship, the photos disappear in your collections all the time.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. It's like I know I have a picture of something, and then it does just simply disappear.
Yeah. Everyone I know that keeps photo collections of the Queen Mary, they all have the same problem. They're like, oh, that's weird. I put the photo right here and it's not here.
Right, exactly. Oh, come on. I just had this image to show, and now it's not in the folder that I wanted. This is what I get for doing this on the fly. But my goodness, I mean, literally, what did I contacted you, what, 2 days ago for this idea to have this topic, and
Yep.
and
It was very on the fly.
very on the fly. Yep. You don't happen
Turkey
to you don't
Possum.
happen to have a boiler room 3 shot that you could throw in there really quick, do you?
I mean, I I I I have the really cruddy what do you call it? The really cruddy screenshot that I told you about that
Oh,
was
I'll
featured
take
in my
it.
video.
I'll take it. Throw it my way.
Okay, let me just
I want to be able to show people what I'm referring to. It's just going to be a quick.
okay, here we go. So this is looking directly at the bulkhead that is in question.
Okay, let me make sure. Okay. All right, let's see here now.
Yeah, that's the best I can do.
The collapsing bulkhead. There it is. Whoa, yeah, that's right. Big picture.
Derpy Possum asks, I keep forgetting, was the pool ever decorated with potted plants or palms during Queen Mary's service
I
line?
remember seeing an occasional picture of like potted plants of some form. I thought there were like little yeah, there was something along that whoa, good grief. But I don't think it was a normal thing. I just remember it seen in a picture.
It might
Ah,
have been like a one-off kind of thing, but not like constantly.
okay. So in this picture you're looking at boiler room, you're actually standing in boiler room 1. And you're looking into boiler room 2.
What? No, that can't be.
Isn't that right?
No. No, because boiler room 1 doesn't have that fake piping structure with the red lights.
That's but you're
Boiler room
but
Boiler room 1 has the special effect of the water leakage thing.
yeah, and the water softening plant.
Yeah, well, that's what the water softening plant was. But I know this is boiler room boiler room 2 because of the fact that this came from a video. So I walked through the boiler rooms in the video. So I counted the boiler rooms as I went through them.
So you're okay. I'm sorry. You are in boiler room 2. You're looking aft in boiler room 2.
Looking aft in boiler room 2
Yeah.
at the bulkhead that separates the turbo
Correct.
generator
Right.
room.
In fact, at the very very top, you can see the copper dam which overhangs the bulkhead. Let me bring that up there. Right there in the middle. Right here. I don't know. Can anybody see that? I don't know if I can.
Well, we're on a 12-second delay, so I can't really see what you're
I
talking
am.
about at the moment.
At the very very top of the picture, there's a little cantilevered steel structure, and that's the outer edge of the copper dam.
Yeah.
And that hole that you see there is the hole that's cut into the forward turbo generator room. Mm-hmm. So this is my point exactly. You have the structural beams that run up and down, perpendicular. I mean, horizontally. No, vertically. Wow, boy, man. They're not touched. The only areas of the bulkheads that were compromised was just there are some the stiffeners, the stiffener girders that are on the bulkhead, and the bulkhead plate itself. And this is the same for this on the side of boiler room 3. The steel columns that run vertically from all the way up to our deck, all the way down to the tank top and to the longitudinal girders. Boy, say that 1,000 times fast. Are not compromised one bit. If they were showing any signs of structural stress, there would be massive corrosion at the base. There is corrosion at the base. It's all due to water, the exposure of water that was in the boiler rooms during the 70s and 80s, and even into the 90s. But not like you see on, for example, the shell plating on prom deck. All that corrosion that you see at the bottom of the scupper, that's stress, because what's happened is in there the lifeboat columns, the davit columns have actually rusted so far to oblivion that they are no longer supporting themselves to the deck. So now the weight of sun deck has transferred to the shell plate, and now the shell plate is stressing, and that's what's causing all of that massive bubble corrosion all along the scupper is stress. You don't see any sign of stress on these columns at all. So nowhere in the report the Rados 1990 report or the follow-up 1992 report, is there ever mentioning of a structural compromise due to the removal of the portions of the bulkheads between boiler rooms 3 and the turbo generator room and boiler room 2 and the turbo generator room? Had no effect on the pool at all.
And they did a report in 2021. They had the structural framing of the ship ultrasounded, and then they also did other kinds of tests to see what kind of stresses are on the structural beams, columns, and frames, and they found nothing out of the ordinary in terms of structural issues down below. So they found nothing.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. And now that would of course change if you add water to the tank, and of course we know that you're going to have all kinds of different stresses adding all that tonnage of water into the tank. The repairs that were given, and this whole let me go back to the report here.
I also sent you a photo of the underside of the cofferdam to show people that if there was an issue of the bulkhead deforming and causing deformations, you would see a deformation in the cofferdam, but there isn't. The cofferdam is completely flush.
So let me go back to show that again here. Wait a minute. Well,
yep.
I turned you off.
Yeah. There's even in the photo that I sent you, there's even you can see the crane track. They had a crane in the turbo generator room for lifting the turbo generators during maintenance.
Correct. That's right.
And you can see the crane track. The crane track is not deformed because the crane track is right up against the cofferdam. So you would see the crane track deformed if it was an issue of that, but it's not. It's completely flat.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Now I think I need to
Poor Steve, I just keep sending him photos. He's like, stop it.
Yeah. So yeah, you're looking at the bottom of the cofferdam here, correct?
Yep, that's the bottom of the cofferdam, and it juts out further down because the only deck that is above this turbo generator room is D deck, but the cofferdam extends below D deck.
Correct. Yeah, almost to the what would be the E deck level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But above the turbo generator room, there is no E deck level.
Correct. They're right. Yeah, and there's no, when you look at this, you can see the damage that was done from the conversion. The removal of stuff, and in a lot of cases, it was deliberate. I don't want to say malicious, but it was almost intentional damage done. It was like, she's retired. We're getting rid of her practically. I mean, we can smash this or cut this. It's oh my gosh. There's a ladder in cargo hold 2, and there is no other explanation than to say somebody deliberately ran. I think they did it when they pulled the anchor out, the spare anchor that's now on D deck aft. I think when they pulled it out, they literally rammed it into this stairwell, this ladder. Excuse me, and just obliterated it. I mean, it's completely mashed. I can't think of anything other than a 16-ton anchor that would have done damage to this ladder. Anyways, again, going off topic. But going back to the image here, you don't see damage being caused by structural compromise of recent time. There's none. There's no structural compromise being shown, and everybody wants to jump to the conclusion that, oh my gosh, they cut the bulkhead. They remove. In some cases, they'll say, "Oh, they removed all the structure underneath the pool itself. The pool's ready to collapse." Well, it's not from the bulkheads in the boiler room. It's just from corrosion in the copper dam itself.
Yeah.
That has caused the damage. Now I'm going to show this picture now of the reason why it's causing damage, and we're going to show your pictures first, Alex.
Oh, okay.
Because they're good pictures.
Thank you. It took me a whole, I don't know, 10 minutes to make those.
So we're going to look at the pool room in a cross-section view here. So we see the port side and the starboard side columns. We see the cambered ceilings of the pool area and the balcony. And here we see R deck at the top. C deck is the pool tank, the pool deck level. And then we have the pool tank itself. And then right below the pool tank is the copper dam. This is basically a simplified structural layout of how a cross-section image would be. So this is how it should be in its normal, happy-go-lucky state.
The way it wants to be.
I don't know why I'm not. I should make this bigger. There we go. So everybody can see that. And D-deck, as you can see, D-deck actually comes down to just before the copper dam. There is a small section of E-deck where you can access the copper dam along the side, but E-deck doesn't extend into the forward turbo generator room itself. It's only like a little wing of E-deck on the port and starboard side. But this is what happened when the copper dam and the pool tank started to fail. Oh, where's the picture? There it is. La-dee-dee-dee. The red lines show the deformation. Now this is over dramatized, but all it takes is a fraction of an inch of movement to create chaos. And that's really what's happened. When you look at some areas of this, you couldn't tell that there was damage to the pool tank. When you stand on D deck today and look at the pool tank on the port or starboard side, there's no visual distortion. You don't see a wobbly pool tank wall. But it has shifted enough to where it has caused damage on C deck along the side of the pool. It has distorted to some degree the columns, which, by the way, these columns are hollow. They're not like a structural beam. I was telling Alex this. They're hollow because they actually have a ladder rung that'll take you all the way up to sports deck. You can actually, it's like an emergency escape hatch. It'll take you all the way up to a sports deck. It also is a wire race, original wire race. So there's doors that lead into that column, and you can see inside. You can see the ladder, and you can see where all the wires used to be mounted to that ran up, and the wires from there, distributed to all the different decks. It makes sense because it's coming out of a turbo generator room. So what you see here is what is happening today. The distortion of R deck on the balcony, the popping of tiles, the distortion on C deck, and it's basically all being caused by the deformation of the pool.
And the other thing, like to just let people know, is like, just like Steve said, this image that I made is over dramatized, because if you look at, like, there are photographs of the, well, I call it floor, but the deck of sea deck that surrounds the ship. You can't really see the deformations in the floor, but you see the effects of the deformations. So like I have this one photo that shows a line of tile that's buckling from the floor, but underneath the tile the floor looks flat. But it's the tiny little movement of that steel plate
That's it,
that
exactly.
caused the buckling in the tile.
Yep. Now, to show you the reason why there's a problem with the tile work, let me show this picture. I ate a cherry and I wasn't expecting to. Okay, so we're gonna look at. Oh boy, I gotta make this bigger. There we go. So we're basically looking at another little cross section. The top section that's running horizontally, that's the sea deck, deck landing, right by the pool. The gray line that goes vertically up and down here in the middle, that is the pool tank wall. You'll see that there's a black outline that covers the outside of that gray. That's a tar lining.
Are we looking down at the pool?
No, we're doing another cross section. So you're looking. You know, you can either look forward or aft. You're basically looking forward or aft. So D deck is at the top. The pool tank is on the side here.
Okay.
And, the pool tank being to the right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The little gray bars that come out from the gray deck and from the gray pool tank wall, those are little stanchions that have been spot welded to the either to the deck or to the pool tank. And attached to that, spot welded, is a like a basket weave metal mesh. And the tan, the light tan that's all filling that area, that's what's called, let me make sure I get this name correct. It's called a Bentata, Bentata composition. And it was specially made by this company called Die-Specker or D-Specker and Company. They call it a Bentata composition. I was talking to Rob Jacobs last night, and we are suspecting, going by the name, that it could possibly be a bentonite composition, which would mean that it would have a significant amount of aluminum and magnesium oxide in it, which would make it extremely light. And that was the whole reason for this. Was a concrete replacement for mortar. So basically what you're looking at is the mortar for the tile work all through. I mean, not just the pool tank, but the deck, the walls, you know, all the bulkheads inside. It's all the same design, same linkage, all interconnected. The wire mesh, the basket weave mesh, all interconnects with each other. And then the pool tank tiles, they're not tiles, they're bricks. They're like 6-inch by 2-inch by 2.5 inch. They're the size of like fire bricks. So all together, if you look at the pool tank, from the pool tank wall to the outer edge of the tile is 5 inches. That's 5 inches of a concrete-like material plus a brick type, substance. Can you imagine the weight? That's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So imagine now This has all been adhered, to the side of the pool tank. It's, the tar has been sprayed on, and then the mortar has been applied by troweling, and it's interwoven into the basket weave metal mesh, and then the little briquettes, as they're called in the shipbuilder, which, by the way, you need anybody who wants to know a lot about the construction of the ship needs to buy this book. Alex, you got this book, right? The shipbuilder.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's not 100% accurate because it was written before the maiden voyage. So there were a lot of changes that were made in those last few months before the actual maiden voyage. But it's, for the most part, I still consider it the Bible of the Queen Mary. And so whenever you want to look up something as far as like maybe who made it, how it was constructed, is a lot of times it's in this book. So, and by the way, you can find old copies of these. This hasn't been reprinted in years. If you go on eBay, you can just look up Ocean Liners of the Past Queen Mary or Shipbuilder Queen Mary, and you'll be able to find it on eBay. And they're cheap. What did you pay for yours? You remember?
I don't remember.
I just got this one because I lost my other copy. I have no idea where I put it. I think I got it for $15. So yeah, you can find them on eBay all the time between $15 and $25. Where was I going? I lost
you were
track.
describing how the pool was constructed, especially with the briquettes and all that.
Oh, okay. So the Bentata mixture and everything, all of that weight. Imagine a slight shift in the formation of the pool tank wall. Something's got to give. And what I think has happened is that the mortar has pulled away in some areas from the pool tank, which allowed water to come in and now trap itself between the pool tank, the steel pool tank bulkhead itself, and the mortar. So now you've got these little pockets where water has infiltrated that area. And if you look at the pool tank today on D-deck, it's exactly that same way. It's little spots of little rust polka dots all over the place in sections. It's not the whole thing, just in little sections. And those little polka dots are basically eaten through rust holes. You can take your finger and kind of work it in. But it has now caused corrosion to take place in the pool tank, which has now pushed the mortar and the tile, the briquettes, away from the pool tank. And we've got to remember, rust never stops. It's like cancer. It continues to grow and continues to grow, and there's plenty of moisture down there. It gets fed very well.
Mm-hmm.
So over time, the pool tank tile has now pushed itself away from the pool tank itself. Now, remember, even in this drawing, you can see how they interwoven everything. So the wire mesh from the pool tank now comes up onto the pool deck and is interconnected. It's all spot welded together. And so now the tiles on the pool deck are all laid into that mesh, now laying horizontal. Okay, so probably that wire mesh has broken, but in the process, before it broke, it was pulling on the deck, on all the tiles on the deck. Well, if you look at the fountains, the freshwater fountains, let's go back to one of those pictures here really quick. Let's see if we can show one here. Yeah. So over on the, actually, this is a. Boy, I've got some other pictures that would have been a lot better to show, but we can see the column here on the left-hand side. I know you probably haven't seen it yet here, Alex, but the column here on the left-hand side and the very edge of sea deck into the pool. That has now, into, you know, if you look at it today, has all split away. It's all now pushed coming into the center of the pool. It has ripped the tile away. It's ripped part of the deck away, really, and it has completely destroyed the freshwater fountains, which you can see the freshwater fountain here on this side of the ship. That's that
I
little.
have a photo of that breakage.
Ah, that's what we want. That's what we want right there. Let's see that breakage.
Roll that beautiful breakage footage. Oh, I have an even better one, actually. Here's another one.
Okay.
You can decide which one you think is best.
I'll save this one here first, and then... Oh, that might be... Yeah, that might be a good one. Let's see. Let's go with that one first. Okay.
Yeah, that second one also shows the little rust pockets.
Ah, okay. Let me go to... I gotta go back to downloads. Oh, I wish they would actually be at... I wish they would really be at the bottom, but they're never at the bottom. Oh, I know what to do. There we go. Is that one? Oh, of course, because it's big. Hold on. Whee. Well, maybe that would be a good thing to do. Yeah. Let's see. Is that going to show some of the... Oh. Let's see. Will it show it on here on this side? Oh, yeah. So there we go. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Right there. Good.
Here's a third one.
Is it there already? Oh, there it is.
It's
oh,
there you go.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'll say that one and then I'll show that. So you can see perfectly right here how the tiles on the pool tank are now coming into the center of the tank, and they're now ripping away the tiles on the column. They've pulled away from the deck here on C deck. They've destroyed the tile work on the fountain. That's the red, aqua, and black little center cylinder here. That's actually a freshwater fountain. So if when you got that nasty salt water in your mouth, you want to rinse it out. That's what the freshwater fountains were for. So you can see here, the tile is just absolutely destroyed, gone. And in fact, I believe they have removed the tile completely from it. I think it's wrapped in like plywood or something, but they've done something to them since these pictures were taken.
I have a recent photo.
Oh,
of it's not mine, but it's from the YouTube channel Skidoo.
Oh, okay.
So
okay, let me. Oh, yeah. Hold on 1 second, and I'm gonna get to that one. Okay. I wanted to show, yes, this one right here. Oh boy. Whoa. Wait a minute. What happened? Oh, no, that's not what I want. I want that right there. Whoa, so big. So big. Oh my goodness. Big, 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 big.
You just need a computer that is running at 4K already, and
I
these will be small.
know, I know. Tell me about it. Well, we might just leave it big so that we can show there's a little bit more of the damage. There's the pool tank. Now this is interesting because I believe now there's a separation between like that gray, the lip edge of the pool tank and the black tile. I think there's like a gap, like a 1 to 2 inch gap in there.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just basically to show you that the tile work is all kind of falling in on itself. Gravity is not its friend, and it's coming into the center of the pool. But as horrible as this is, and we need to we're approaching the hour and 40-minute mark. As horrible as this is, it's cosmetic. It's not really structural. And now you and I were talking about this a little bit. Oh, I wanted to show you wanted to the Skidoo picture, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's show that one really quick. Did I say
That one? Yeah, that one can also, it can illustrate some other issues too.
Okay, let me show that one really quick. Yeah, because that one shows now the fountain completely stripped out. Oh, yeah. So this is from Skidoo, right? He has his own YouTube channel.
Yeah. So he did a video where he was walking. You see, side note, where this photo was taken, he was not in the pool room. He was taking this photo from C deck on the other side of the wall, right behind a giant window that overlooks this. Now, to my knowledge, prior to COVID, that giant window overlooking C deck on this area was not there before.
It was actually a set of double stainless steel doors, and I think they've just I think they've removed the double doors or they're left open. I don't know what they've done because I haven't been down there to see. And
I think they removed the doors and installed a window.
Really?
Yeah, because now it's part of the tour because they didn't take people down there to that hallway.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might make sense. So you can see there's a set of stainless steel doors on the other side. So this is the port side looking to starboard. If I'm
this should be starboard looking to port.
Starboard looking to port, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I would have thought they would have had the window in the what would have been the working alleyway.
Oh yeah, no, they didn't go to that side.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can see here, this is the remains of the water fountain. It's been wrapped in some kind of a plastic, but I mean, it's destroyed. It's completely destroyed. And the base is completely destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just continuing to grow. Now, this is the one thing I do want to touch really quick on. The problem with the ship, with the pool area, is not just from corrosion from the pool tank. And the big problem is this. Oh, come on. Desktop. Yeah. Graphics. So, first off, the ship is... Oh, where'd it go? Okay, there we go. So most of you do know that the ship has what's called shear. You have decks that are shaped like a banana, basically, being higher at the bow and the stern, and a little bit lower in the middle. That's what's called shear to deck. And that's part of the ship's design so that when the ship was in rough weather, the entire ship was allowed to flex to some degree, and in some cases bend in some degree. So there are two ways on how a ship can be. And we're going to the next one here. So you can either hog or you can sag. You don't want to really be either one for any great period of time, but the ship was designed to be either one. More sagging than hogging. The ship was designed to sag with a difference of oh golly, I think it was like well over a foot in difference between the center of the ship and the bow or the stern. In hogging, it was a little bit less. It was like maybe 6 inches total in difference between like the center of the ship and then the actual bow or stern. But you when you trim the ship out, when you have ballast, set to where you're wanting to stabilize the trim so that everything is basically even, you want to keep the ship flat. The ship is currently hogging 1 inch. And that was just proven, 2021 on the last Marine Engineering Report, that there's a 1 inch difference. The center of the ship is 1 inch higher than the bow or the stern is at the ends of the ship. It's not very much.
Well, of course, most people can't tell because the ship still has shear.
Oh, yeah,
so
right.
So the shear throws people off and they go, oh, but the ship is sagging. But no, that's shear.
Right.
The whole ship in general is hogging.
Right. Exactly. I mean, yeah, if the ship was hogging to a point to where the shear to deck was actually hogging to deck, I don't think there would be a ship. There wouldn't be a ship left.
No.
But this is all, the reason why the ship is currently hogging is just a matter of improper ballasting. The amount of water that's kept in her side tanks and her bottom tanks to distribute the weight where she currently sits. She hasn't been properly ballasted and trimmed in decades. And she's been hogging for decades. Sometimes more than others. There's been many instances where tanks on the side have sprung a leak. I mean, basically, there's little access hatches that go into the side tanks, and they're just sealed with a gasket. Well, over time, the gasket goes bad, and you get a leak. You'll see water dripping out, or it'll be spraying out from the access hatch, and so you have to drain the hatch, and then take the access panel off, replace the gasket, and then put it back on. Well, several times that's been done, but they never filled the tank back up. So that's just added to the improper ballasting and trim of the ship. That has, I think, intensified the problem with the pool tank, because the ship, let me go back to your picture, I think, that you had here. This is a good example. Oops.
There is a asterisk, though, to what has all just been said. The report that was done in 2021 that reported the ship was hogging 1 inch, that was before the drainage and inspections of the tanks. And
this is true.
Yeah, the tanks were drained and inspected late 2022 and finished by early 2023.
Yeah, and I don't think that they've actually finished. I think that they did what they could do in the exhibit hall area, But I've seen no signs of work being done forward of the exhibit hall. I think that their only concern at that time was the exhibit hall area, like boiler room 5 and the forward engine room area. But you are right. I have no idea what has been done to, yeah, I don't think they've ever refilled those tanks up, the bottom tanks. They removed all that drilling mud and all that. I don't think that's been corrected. The other thing is the removal of the lifeboats. That's a huge amount of weight that's been changed on the ship. So yeah, again, we have no idea what the ship is currently doing. But all of this improper ballasting, improper trim, I think has all led to it has exasperated the problem with the pool itself, with the distortion of the columns, the distortion of the decks, and the destruction of the tile work. So this is probably the first thing that would really need to be done if you're going to do any kind of like restoration of the pool. The ship has got to be properly ballasted and trimmed. No, there's no doubt. The next thing would be you would have to probably do some structural repair to the decks that have seen distortion to where it can't be corrected. I know you were bringing up with me about the columns in the beginning, and we were talking about the a loss of structural integrity because you were talking about the wet noodle effect.
Dry noodle, but yeah.
Dry, right? To where if you have distorted it, that you've lost structural integrity. Let's take a look at C deck. Let's see. Is that what we want? Yeah, C deck. Yeah, we can look at C deck. This is C deck now, not C deck from 1936. This is C deck now. So all the black lines, those are bulkheads. They're still basically original bulkheads that are on the ship. And you can see that the pool itself is completely surrounded by a big giant bulkhead. It's in fact, I pretty much would say that it was watertight to some degree. It could be, somewhat watertight. So if you look at the center, look at the pool area itself, you can see the two columns there. All that is doing is supporting weight of the decks above. But if you look at, let's go to our deck, for example. So now we've got even more bulkheads around here, and then you've got columns, steel columns. The little dots here are steel columns. That's all extra support of the decks. So nothing is really relying upon the columns in the swimming pool for weight of any great degree. It's all distributed throughout the entire area of the ship. So if there's some distortion, it's not going to be, you're not looking at any kind of major structural integrity loss. Now, if there is a section that needs to be cut out, now that might go into some questionable redesigning, because whenever you're going to cut into something that's structural, you're going to have to see how it can be reinstated and temporarily supported. But it shouldn't be a problem. Let's see here. Now, I want to go. Let's go ahead and wrap up with why. Why should the pool? Why do you think the pool should be brought back to some degree? And to what degree do you think it should be brought back, Alex? I hate to pop this really huge question on you, but
a lot of people will want me to say that I think the pool should be brought back in the capacity of a functional hotel pool.
Okay.
Now, I'm kind of like 60-40 on it. 40 being bring it back as a hotel pool.
Mm-hmm.
But the 60% of me is more like bring it back as a static display. Because I believe there is still enough of a way to restore the room to a exhibit quality, still keeping original features, original tiles, that kind of thing, with replacement of whatever's broken. But if you return the pool to that condition and then make it into a hotel pool, the guests will destroy the room. So that is my take on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's probably, I think it's probably a 50-50 thing on people's opinion of what should be done with the pool. My thought is that the pool, the hotel has always suffered from a loss of a pool. There is no pool for the hotel guests to use. They attempted to try and build one on the stern, and that was really stupid because they didn't really go into the engineering aspects of, can you put a pool on the stern? And it turned out they couldn't do it. Although I think that they could put jacuzzis back there. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Think about jacuzzis. But that's.
But then you get into the whole, like, you're altering the historic look of the ship again.
Well, if we look at A deck aft right now, it's so altered. How much more altered could you make it?
But I mean, shouldn't the goal be to return as much of the ship that you touch?
A deck aft will probably never look like A deck aft ever again. Ever. I it's so far gone that I think that there are ways that you could bring back maybe the look to some degree of A deck aft. I think you could maybe put the skylight back. But as far as like the warping gear and the big heavy winch that was back there, and the bollards and the bits and the roller fairleads, that's not going to happen. But
and what do you think about the ship in 1995 became registered with National Historic Places, which now means that whatever you do to the ship has to be done in a way that is at least close to historically accurate. Now, most of the ship's alterations, the major stuff that has completely altered the look of the ship, was done prior to 1995.
Right. You're correct. I can tell you that it's not absolute law.
Well, it's not.
It's not like the historian police is going to come out and throw you in jail or when it comes to something that's so altered, so much altered, like A deck aft, and here we go off topic again. I want to get back to the pool, but with A deck aft, adding jacuzzis to to the amenities for hotel guests isn't going to be an issue. If you are talking about removing that docking machinery today, that would be a little bit more of a process that would be difficult to do and shouldn't be done. But what's done is already done. And as much as we have to, as much as we want to make the ship a museum piece, it is also a functioning hotel. So you either have to accept the fact that the ship is a functioning hotel, which has to appease its guests, the hotel guests, not the tourists, but the hotel guests. You need a pool. You need some form of water recreation area.
I propose that there is actually a third option.
Okay, let's hear it.
Where the second class pool sits today is now a 4D theater. That pool room was removed for the conversion, and of course the area of E-deck surrounding the pool room was also turned into a lobby for the engineering spaces on the ship. However, just forward of that lobby is the old forward engine room and the aft turbo generator room, which have been turned into a convention center. I propose they turn the convention center into the museum lobby with access to the other places, of course, but then return part of E-deck back into the second class pool, recreate it as closely as possible, but make it so that way it is usable for hotel guests to use as a pool. And the way that they can get there, actually, is that the elevator shaft that stopped right in front of the pool in a little very narrow lobby, that elevator shaft is actually still there. They don't use it for going down that far anymore. So yeah, I propose that they redo the second class pool, make that available for hotel guests, and then keep the first class pool as just a static exhibit, since that room still has its historic integrity. So
it's a thought, and I've pondered that in my mind as well. I'm not so much willing to go along the lines of forfeiting the exhibit hall, because I think the exhibit hall is very beneficial to the ship. Like, again, they gutted that area, but the space is now prime for a major event space. And I don't think that they would want to get rid of event space like that. But to rebuild the second class pool in or near the location of the second class pool, it is a thought. It's a thought. I don't know if I would be completely on board with it, but I would entertain the idea.
So we'll make a believer out of you.
Well, the idea would be, one, why would a hotel want a indoor pool? Well, let me show you one example really quick. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get out of this. Cancel. So we'll go with, we want to show, no. Where'd it go?
Ivan, the only thing is that allowing hotel guests to use the first class pool after hours, not very many people are going to want to go swimming at 9 p.m. at night. Sure, there's a few night owls that like to do that, but the majority of people want to go swimming in the middle of the day when it's hottest.
I would, yeah. I mean, having an outdoor pool would be nice as well. And I thought that they could build an outdoor pool off, on the wharf side, like put a little water area wharf side. That's never happened. And then there's also the idea that you've been on board. It's difficult to get people on and off that ship. I don't know why it is.
Oh,
why is it so difficult to get people on and off? First off, they don't understand the whole, like, you're on a ship, so you've got the the elevators that go sun deck, prom deck, main deck, A deck, B deck, and then they get completely thrown off when they go off the gangway and to the outside elevators. Levels 1, 2, 3, and 4. What is so confusing about that? I don't get it.
I think they just expect an elevator to go to every floor like they do on a building, but people don't realize that this is a ship. Like it just can't be done. The elevators can only go to certain areas, especially the ones off the ship.
Right.
But I'll tell you another thing that always kind of ticked me off was the walkway that goes from Tower 1 to Tower 2, and you have to climb stairs to get on. I know there used to be an escalator,
right?
But even still, that is crappy engineering. It's like, well, what happens if one day you decide you want to remove the escalators, which they did? Now you have to climb stairs. It's like, why didn't you just make it flush with the deck, or not the deck, the level? I'm still talking about ships, but on the tower, why didn't they just make that level? They just I get mad.
So here's a picture that I'm showing. You should probably see it here in a minute, Alex. Is the indoor swimming pool at the Biltmore Hotel here in Los Angeles, which in my opinion is kind of a lot like the second class swimming pool on the Queen Mary.
I was going to say for a split second, I thought that was the second class pool.
It does have a very. This is probably one of the most beautiful indoor pools I've seen, in a hotel. And I think the Biltmore was built in the late 20s. Now this is slightly larger than what the second class swimming pool would be, but I mean, look at the artwork. Look at the decor. Now this is only a single level, but I mean, can you imagine though if the first class pool on the Queen Mary was brought back? Can you imagine the attraction it would have? One more example. Let me show here really quick. Oh, well, I guess you're going to get to see me type it in here.
We live for this, Steve.
Then we're going to go to... This is at... Well, let's see. Let me make sure I get a better... So here is the Pall Mall in London, England. This is their automobile club, basically. Look at the indoor swimming pool. Now this is almost Olympic size. This is a huge room. So we're not talking anywhere near, the size that the Queen Mary's first class pool is. But look at the beautiful artwork and the tile work on the columns.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. It looks like fish scale tiling.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. So these are all examples of indoor swimming pools. Now, whether we look at the swimming pool being brought back to hotel guests, or if we brought it back purely as a static display, in many ways, I'd love to see it brought back to the hotel guests, only because of the water. Like I said before, that pool room is just dead. It was so much more alive when the pool tank was filled. And I'd love to see that pool tank alive again. The pool area alive again. One last thing before, and then we'll take some questions really quick, and then I think we can wrap up. Restoration. We were talking about all of the tile work. We'd have to get new tile, or at least try to salvage the original tile as much as we possibly could. You're talking about a complete new underlayment you're actually talking about a complete new construction of a steel tank for the pool. If you talk about, now this is if we brought it back to hotel use. At the very least, you're talking about a cosmetic fix of the existing pool tank, which would still cost a lot of money. But all of that work couldn't even possibly equal to this. And this is what I'm going to end this with. Oh. The history and the reconstruction of the Amber Room at the Catherine Palace in St. Petersburg, Russia. This room was completely destroyed, stripped bare. Let me go to one of the pictures down here. By the Nazis during World War II. Let's see, there's a picture of it down here. This is the only pre-war photograph of the room that exists, that they used to go by to restore the room. And this is what it looked like after the war. Just completely gone. And the only thing that they were able to salvage, that they were able to find in Germany, was like a table and a piece of art. That's it. And what I think close to $15 million later, now this was about 20 years ago, so probably about double that. $15 million later, this is what it got them. Complete restoration of or recreation of art. This is actually a piece of art that was found and then brought back to the room. Just absolutely unbelievable. And I think there we go. This is the Amber Room today. $15 million in 2003. Now, I can't see spending $15 million on the swimming pool on the Queen Mary. But I could see maybe between 5 and 10 if we were
I would say closer to 5 myself.
Again, depending upon whether we go, to make it hotel usable or not. That would make a huge difference in cost for sure. But it's not impossible. It's not impossible. And I'm not saying that this should be done now, next week, next year, next 5 years. We can't put a date on it because there are a lot of projects on the ship that we know take priority. And I'm not putting this ahead of any other project. It wouldn't be fair. But it's a topic at hand. It's something to think about. It's something for the city to think about. It's something for Evolution Hospitality to think about. But it's not impossible. It can be done. Alex, since you've got the chat open, is there any last questions? Anybody making comments or anything we want to talk about?
The first one that just popped up first one I look at is King of Battleship says, are there any remains of the original second class pool still left on the ship?
If you go down to F deck and you look up on F deck today, you can see where the original E deck, decking was, and you can see the lining where the pool was, and then you can see new deck that was added where the pool was, and that's it. That's all that remains of the and the 3 glass panels. One of them broken.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. That were on the aft end of the swimming pool with the fish. That's all that remains of the second class pool.
And then he asked again, what does the room look like today now, where the second class
There is
pool?
no room. It's gone. I mean, there's not even an outlining of the pool room itself. It was all completely stripped bare. The bulkheads cut out and everything.
Yes, and then in that cavity where there used to exist a room, they built more recently the 4D theater. So the 4D theater sits in that spot
on D deck, anyways.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and E deck, right? On F deck, is the archives, the secured archives for the ship.
Yeah. Let me see. Nobody's asking a question. So Shiloh asked, where are the 2 glass panels from the second class pool?
The 2 of the 3, I think the 2 of the 3, the fish panels.
Yeah.
They were on display not too long ago. But if they're not currently on display somewhere, up on the upper decks, then they're just placed in storage. But they are on board. They haven't left.
I feel like I've seen them in
Yeah.
person when I was there in 2020. I just don't remember where.
Right. That's what I'm thinking of too. And when you were there in 2020, was the art room still open on our deck forward near the third class staircase? Was that still there?
No.
Okay.
No, that was behind lock and key.
Okay.
So King of Battleship says that he thinks that the glass panels are on display on A deck. I'm assuming he means the former third class smoking room. But I do not believe that they're still there.
You know what? I think
they were there at one point, but I don't believe that they are still there.
Yeah,
Because I remember in the spot where they were is now a giant poster of Captain John Jones. So yeah.
Yeah, you know what? That's someplace I'm gonna have to take a peek at when I go there next in a few weeks. I'll take a peek in there because I remember exactly in that where those panels went to, and that was right there on the forward end of A deck.
Yep. So no questions, just comments. Like Ivan says, the F deck archive should be moved off the ship to the Spruce Goose hangar or a new building, which I don't think is necessary. First of all, the Spruce Goose dome is eventually slated for removal and into an expansion of the cruise terminal visitor building. So it's not going to be there much longer.
Yeah, I will agree that our now the secured archive space on F deck aft is not like how it's been presented with the forward end of forward storage. Like, you don't have open portholes. It's not properly temperature and humidity controlled. It should be. That could be done, but they haven't done it. But at least you don't have a situation with open portholes or lack of security or a situation with like leaking pipes or anything like that. The secured archives area is pretty secured and is pretty safe. It's the forward storage area that presents problems. But anyways, I would agree that maybe he's right that archives should maybe be removed from the ship entirely. But that's. Yeah, go ahead.
Scott Fairs is asking me, where did you get this info on the cruise terminal? It was on a Long Beach City Council study session that was done in late 2021, and I recorded it for use, for QMI use. They never watched it, I don't think. So
yeah, and I the question of whether the dome itself is going to go, that's been brought into question. I don't know. No decision has been made, I don't think yet, but I think that they're looking at wanting to remove the dome structure because it is really a waste of space. It doesn't serve the purpose that it was originally designed to do.
It is, and currently they were discussing the maintenance that is needed because it needs to be cleaned and it also needs to be inspected and it needs to be reinforced. Yeah. And the thing is when they looked at that, they were like, oh, that's going to be $5 million worth of work. You might as well just build a new building. Yep. So that's why they're kind of like, you know what? They're thinking like, let's just not keep this dome because it's a waste of space and it's not, and it's going to cost us a lot of money.
Think of the square footage of land that it takes up compared to its functionality. It takes up a lot of land square footage, for its purpose, its current purpose. And if they're looking at expanding the cruise terminal to 4 ships, in the distant future, having four separate piers, man, I mean, you're going to have a much more easily functionable terminal facility than that stupid dome. That dome's horrible.
That is true. That is true. Let's see who was asking anything. Ivan Workman says a new entry slash display slash museum slash office building should be built next to the Queen Mary.
I wouldn't. I would agree with that. I wouldn't build it to you don't want to detract from the look of the ship, but yeah, no, I agree that somewhere adjacent to the Queen Mary should be some kind of a office building and an archive storage. I totally agree.
I would disagree to certain amounts of that. A new entry, yeah, it does. The Queen Mary does deserve kind of a fancy new entrance, and I would say yeah to that. Plus, it could probably benefit the ship could probably benefit from having a check-in counter that is at the main entrance instead of on the ship because people get lost on the way there. Plus, that A deck check-in area is too small for when the ship is really busy. But in terms of a building that acts as a display and museum and office building, see, I agree. I disagree with all that because of the thing is one of the key reasons, in my opinion, why the Queen Mary has not been doing as well as she could is because a lot of people have this idea of, oh, the Queen Mary needs this, this, and that. Let's build it off the ship. Well, if you build this stuff off of the ship, for what reason do people have to go on the ship? If you build a museum and you build an exhibit off of the ship, that's one less reason for people to go on the ship
Yeah.
and to look around.
I do agree with you on that.
As for archives, okay, I can see how having a separate archives building would be definitely beneficial, especially if you can design and construct it however you want because you're not limited by the deck space of a ship.
Right.
But at this point in time, there is so much empty space on the Queen Mary right now that it really doesn't matter. They could build a new archive. If pretty much, I mean, there's like 10 different places I could list where they could build a fully sealed up, nicely kept archive, and it doesn't have to take up parking lot space.
I do agree with all that. And there is plenty of space, but there is one thing that I will definitely go with, and that is the current situation with the shared tourists and hotel guests all coming into that one little warp entrance on that west tower.
Yeah.
There's something that's got to be done. I actually miss the old days of the original T, walkway, where if you were going to be going onto the Queen Mary for the day, you entered in from the old London Town entrance and you went up. Those days are gone. But something's got to be done with how it's currently being handled. It's not working.
Yeah. Let's see.
Well, we can probably. Wow, it's almost 4:30. We can go ahead and probably end it here. If anybody else.
I think so. There's only one more question. Let me see.
Oh, okay.
King of Battleship says, "What is the status of them building a dry dock where Queen Mary can be serviced?" You're going to be waiting a long time because they aren't even in the planning stages yet. They're more in the surveying stages.
Yeah.
And surveying can take a long time. I can't tell you everything that happens during a survey process, but it's a lot of stuff. And everything from traffic to acreage to adjustments that must be made to the land. And then they take several locations and they do all the reports on those locations, give them to the city council at a future date to decide which one they want to go with. So it's going to take a long time. I was going to say,
and any location that they do decide, it's going to be reclaimed land that doesn't exist yet. So they're going to have to, basically build an addition to Terminal Island, for the construction of the dry dock. So that will take time before even the dry dock can be built. So yeah, it's definitely years down the line. Yeah, don't count on it, anytime soon. But I mean, the Queen Mary is not really in a position to even accept. If there was a dry dock built tomorrow, she couldn't go there tomorrow. So
No.
right now, anything that can be done to her in her current position, by all means, let's do it. And then we can as long as we have the city keeping it alive.
Yeah.
As long as they're still talking about doing surveying and doing reports on it, the idea is alive. If the idea dies, then that's going to be a problem. But so far, it hasn't died yet.
Yep.
All right, Alex.
All right.
Wow. 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And we could probably spend at least another hour if we wanted to. Man, Alex, thank you very much for joining me. Yeah. I'm drained.
I am too. I am like exhausted.
Yeah. I want to thank everybody out there that's joined us today for this conversation. I hope that we've given you a little bit more insight into the situation with the pool, giving you some ideas on what can be done with the pool. It doesn't hurt if you think about ideas. You can submit them to the city. You can submit them to the management, to Evolution Hospitality. It doesn't hurt to ever do that. And I would encourage people to do that. They're always listening. In fact, I'll tell you right now, they are probably going to be watching this video. And I hope that they do. And that's what we want to do. We want to include them on our thoughts. Because the ship is as much the city's as it is ours. It is really the public's ship. And we want to make sure that the ship is maintained and kept in the way that we'd like to see her done. And they won't know what we want unless we tell them what we want. And this is a way that we can let them know our thoughts. If I've earned it, please click on the like button. If you want to continue to watch any more of my videos, please click on the subscribe and click on the notification button so that you can be alerted to any further videos that I have. Same thing with Alex. Alex the Historian. I'll put his channel. Did I put your link in the? If I didn't put your link in the description, I will definitely put Alex the Historian's channel's link in the description. And go to Alex the Historian's channel if you've never been there before. Check out his videos. Like his videos if they deserve to be liked, and subscribe to his channel if he deserves to be described to.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and thank you very much for staying with us for this presentation, and we will hopefully see you soon. Thank you very much.